Short questions, short answers by Torah teacher Ariel and e-Bible. Copyright TaNaKH Torah Ministries, 2015. All rights reserved. Here's our question. What does the Bible mean when it says the Spirit brooded? What does that verse mean? All right, we're going to take a look at some Hebrew tonight. Let me read the English and then the Hebrew, and then I'll explain. Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth." Verse 2 says, "The earth was without form and void, and darkness was over the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." Let's look at the Hebrew on the screen as well. The Hebrew verse 1 says, "Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz." Verse 2 says, "V'haaretz haita tohu vavohu, v'choshek al panei tahom, v'ruach Elohim merachefet al panei hamayim." What does it mean that this Spirit, Ruach of God, Elohim merachefet, hovered al paneim over the face of the waters? The original Hebrew word translated as brooded or hovered in Genesis 1:2 is merachefet, and the root word is rachaf, and it conveys a sense of shaking, moving, fluttering. Is when a bird softly relaxes its flight to alight upon its young. This is a kind of a close proximity that's being described. And it adequately describes the actions of the Ruach, the Spirit, as He lovingly and closely watches over the created substance. How so? Well, this verb, although found 3 times in Scripture, is defined as, quote, hovering, end quote, only one other time in the entire TaNaKH, the Old Testament. Here's the verse. "He found his people in desert country, in a howling, wasted wilderness. He protected him and cared for him, guarded him like the pupil of his eye, like an eagle that stirs up her nest, hovers," there's our word, "over her young, spreads out her wings, takes him and carries him as she flies." That's Deuteronomy 32:10-11. This beautiful illustration of the protective power of the Spirit in relation to His children, Am Yisrael, the people of Israel, as they travel through the wilderness, reminds me of the same Spirit that hovered over the waters at the beginning of creation, hovering, protecting, providing life to that which it is protecting. Understand what I'm trying to say there? It's this idea of a closely guarding and watching, but a carefully doing so. That's this word hovering. The word translated hovers in our above verse from Deuteronomy is the same root as the one that's used in Genesis 1:2, rachaf. That's the same word. Now, check this out. In fact, to strengthen the connection between the 2 applications of the Spirit in Genesis and the Spirit in Deuteronomy, the Haftarah portion to Genesis, a Torah portion is Isaiah 42:5-43:10. And the Haftarah portion is a prescribed reading portion from the prophets and the writings that was chosen by the ancient sages, the Jewish people, to complement the Torah portion, typically complementary in either its opening few phrases or the content. In this passage from the Haftarah portion of Isaiah, we read in the opening 17 Hebrew words a summary of the first chapter in Genesis. The Hebrew reads first, 42 verse 5. "Kol amar ha'el Adonai borei hashamayim v'notehem roka ha'aretz v'tzetze'eya noten nishmar la'am alea v'ruach l'holchim ba." Thus says God Adonai, who created the heavens and spread them out, who stretched out the earth and all that grows from it, who gives breath to the people on it and spirit to those who walk on it. All right. I hope this brief explanation adds some insight to the verse in question. This excerpt was lifted from my Messianic commentary to Genesis. You can see the video link in the upper right corner for more information on watching that particular video teaching. Okay? All right. Check out my podcasts, which are available on iTunes. You can search for me in the store under the search term Ariel HaNavi. But if you prefer to watch your theology, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the bell for notifications. New content is added weekly or even daily.